Hi, I'm Father Michael Orsi. I am your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which brings you the big G for the gospel of Jesus Christ and the little g, all the good things that people do to put that gospel of life into action. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice I'm dressed a little bit differently today than usual because today is the annual Blue Mass and Mass for First Responders at St. Agnes's Church in Naples. Today we're going to have numerous officers, both active and retired, firefighters, EMS people coming to church in order to give thanks to Almighty God for the good work that they do and to ask God to protect them in the work that they do day in and day out for our benefit and our welfare. This Mass comes at a very, very important time because you've heard recently that since the beginning of the year, already 27 police officers have been shot in the line of duty. And unfortunately, you also know that we just recently lost 2 police officers murdered in New York City. And there was a plea from the widow of one of the police officers at St. Patrick's Cathedral asking the politicians and district's attorney to please enforce the law, because if the law is not enforced, it becomes an open season on the police. We lose good men, good women, and families and communities suffer forever because of their loss.
You have the whole nation on gridlock. And although you won't be here anymore, I want you to live through me. The system continues to fail us. We are not safe anymore. Not even the members of the service. I know you were tired of these laws, especially the ones from the new DA. I hope he's watching you speak through me right now. I'm sure all of our Blue family is tired too. But I promise, we promise, that your death won't be in vain. I love you to the end of time. We'll take the watch from here.
And so I welcome you today, and I hope that you will enjoy watching on TV this beautiful Mass, Blue Mass, in honor of those who serve us so well, police, fire, and EMS. Now, one last thing. You might be wondering about this vest that I have on. Well, this is the official vest of Rolling Thunder. It is an organization which dedicates itself to the remembrance of the MIAs and the POWs, taking care of their families and keeping their memory alive in our community. Now, I have a very interesting person here today that I just wanted to bring on the air briefly, and this is Corporal Richard Beauregard Cox, Corporal Cox. Now, Rich, can you tell us about Rolling Thunder and how Rolling Thunder supports the police?
Well, we have always supported the police, and in fact, a lot of our members are ex-policemen and even current. And we've always felt that the police are the first line of defense in this country, and we have always supported them. Rolling Thunder was founded in New Jersey, and the state troopers in New Jersey have been very grateful over the years for all the donations that we've given the police and even helping veterans. And remember, most veterans are policemen.
Well, Corporal Cox, thank you so much for being with us today, and I know the great support that you show for the police, and especially at this Blue Mass for police and fire and EMS. Thank you so much. God bless you.
You're welcome, Father.
Hi, this is Brian Sheehan with us. He is a retired NYPD officer, and today's a special day, as I said, because it's the Blue Mass honoring our police, both those who have retired and those who are active. But today, as I said, it's kind of special because we lost 2 police officers in New York City in recent weeks, and one was just buried yesterday from St. Patrick's Cathedral. So, Brian, could you tell us about the feeling that the officers have when they lose one of their brothers in the line of duty?
Actually, unfortunately, all too familiar of a feeling. We just lost 2, obviously, and the other night when word came in, I was beside myself. It's an array of different things. It depends on how they go, what happened. This one in particular really, really stung. It brings you back to all the funerals that you've done while you're on the job. This one, aside from remembering all that, standing there saluting the hearse as the casket goes by, standing at attention, waiting for the families, doing everything you can, a sea of blue to show that family the respect that that officer has earned, is one thing. This was purely political. The politics in New York have gone so far out of control. It's given everybody basically a green light to just run around, and it's showing that there is true evil out there, that people who won't contain themselves from evil itself will go out there and do acts of violence. I mean, this is the ultimate act of violence, to shoot and kill 2 police officers. It's unbelievable, to say the least.
I could see, how moved you are, and I could see the tears in your eyes. Did you hear the statement read at St. Patrick's Cathedral yesterday by the widow of the slain officer?
I did.
What did you think about that?
It was heart-wrenching. Here's a widow who, just days earlier, was a newly married bride, had the whole world ahead of her. And just like everyone else, there's ups and downs. And what really tore my heart out for her was the fact that they did have a slight argument that day.
Oh, my.
And they never got a chance to really make up for it. She's going to carry that burden. That's going to hurt her for a long time, on top of everything else.
Brian, I want to thank you for being with us on the program.
Thank you,
for
Father.
all of your service and for being here today. We give you our heartfelt thanks. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you.
I worked in an area called South Jamaica, Queens.
Sure, yeah.
And most of our work was private dwelling fires. Mm-hmm. We had lots of private dwellings because we had multiple families living in one place, and the heat was bad, and they used gas heaters, and a lot of things like that went wrong. But every time those doors opened up, you didn't know what you were going to. We were second due at JFK Airport. We had the Van Wyck Expressway, the Bell Parkway, and the Grand Central Parkway. So we were cutting people out of cars. We had the A train, we had the E train, we had the Long Island Railroad. So every time the door opened up, that's what I really loved about being a fireman, because every situation, nothing is the same. Every time the doors open up, you don't know where you're going until you hear it on the radio when you're in the rig going, we're getting multiple calls, you guys are going to work, or the first engine company's on the scene, and there's 2 people trapped in a car, and you know that I got to get off the rig, I got to grab the tool, I got to open the door. I got to open the door. That's my whole being there at that time, was to do that.
Well, we have one of our own with us right now from Collier County Sheriff's Department, and this is Scott Wigan. Corporal Wigan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Could you tell us why you think this Blue Mass is so important?
Well, it's close to my heart. I'm glad the community comes together. God is always in my heart when I'm doing my job. It's great that they acknowledge, the clergy acknowledges that what we do out there is very stressful and very, very hard work. And we always want to give back.
Well, Corporal, we want you to know how much we appreciate everything you do and everything that the Sheriff's Department does for us in Collier County. God bless you. Keep up your good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I was 7 years old. My father was killed on he got shot Christmas Eve and died Christmas morning. He was a Miami-Dade police officer, and so that inspired me to start the Fallen Officers in support of the Robert L. Zohr Foundation. And we help families of fallen officers, as well as uniting the community together with law enforcement to try to get respect back. and just to bring everyone together with law enforcement, especially right now because it's so very important. We reach all over the United States, so anytime that there is a fallen officer, if the family needs assistance or needs help, even any previous fallen officers, if they need something, they just can reach out to us and we will assist them. And we also do scholarships in the name of fallen officers for Collier and Lee County. So there's 34 fallen officers, and in May we'll do a $1,000 scholarship to each of those, in each of those names.
You know, the Fallen Officers Organization was all put together for my significant other, Rosemary Zor, who lost her father. And she always wanted to do something, and I got involved, and we put this together 2 years ago to really remember the sacrifices of our fallen heroes, honor their families, but to unite everyone to gain respect back for law enforcement. And that's why today's very important with the Blue Mass, to come together to pray for our first responders, our firefighters, our law enforcement officers, and their families, and they need it more than ever. And it gives me the best heart feeling that you wouldn't believe, to really help out people, to care for them, to show them that we care, honor scholarships in the name of each of the fallen officers, because your true hero never dies, it's remembered. So these scholarships is to remember their sacrifice and educate their legacy, and it's so important to do that. And we are going to be building the Fallen Officers of Collier County Fallen Officers Memorial right at Sugden Park, where our Legends Concerts is, because that way people can come and reflect and remember and educate themselves what these men and women do every single day to protect us. We talk about having a great home, having a great school district, having great roads, having great jobs. It means nothing if you do not feel protected and secure in your family. And God bless our men and women of law enforcement and our first responders that take care of us every single day.
As you can imagine, producing this wonderful program, Action for Life, it costs a great deal of money. We're going to need your help. So if you would like to donate to keep this good news program on the air, please go to your computer, your cell phone, actionforlife.net. Thought for the day. Our country is going through a tumultuous time. Many people are questioning the very foundations upon which this country has been built. One of the foundations that people are often forgetting is that this country was built on biblical principles, on justice and righteousness, and also upon charity. So much so that our founders had engraved on top of the rotunda of our Capitol in Washington the words of the prophet Micah. Remember, man, do what is right, love justice, and walk humbly with your God. In a few moments, you will be watching the Blue Mass from St. Agnes's Church, and the homilist today is Monsignor Salvatore Crusculo, who is the police and fire chaplain from the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. So we look forward to hearing Monsignor's inspiring words regarding his work with police and fire in the nation's capital.
Good morning. So good to be with all of you today. I would like to thank Father Orsi for the invitation to come down here and be with all of you on this beautiful, warm, sunny day. I was so excited to leave Washington on Thursday. I'm going down to Florida. What did you do to me? But I've been blamed. Some of you have already said, did you bring this weather with you? I didn't really bring it, but it found me. So I also want to welcome all of you, especially our police officers, our firefighters, our paramedics, our EMTs, and the family members to celebrate this Mass today, this Blue Mass. Celebrate it for all of you. Celebrate it for all of our first responders. Our second reading this morning from St. Paul's letter to the Philippians begins with these words: do not be anxious about anything. I kind of smiled when I read this a few weeks ago as I was preparing for this homily and for this day. And I kept thinking, do not be anxious about anything. With all the different calls that you all get, do not be anxious, is what Paul is telling us. But he also tells us to present our requests to God. So with the calling that God has given to all of you, all of our first responders, you are going to be anxious from time to time. When a call comes out for an active shooter, the police officers are running into that area, while the civilians are doing their best to get out of that area. And you are anxious. For firefighters, when you get ready to have that 6 o'clock meal at your firehouse, and I'm pretty sure that's kind of a universal trait, 6 o'clock dinners in firehouses. Why you've never changed it, I'll never know. Because usually, around 5:30, that call comes in for food on the stove. And as you are pulling up to that food on the stove call, you have fire showing on two sides of that building, and you are anxious. For our paramedics and EMTs, when you pull up on an accident scene, and you have a child who is not breathing, and you breathe life back into that child, you are anxious. And for the family members of law enforcement and all of our first responders, when you hear of an officer being shot, you are anxious. So I guess St. Paul never knew any first responders, because God knows each time you are called out, you are going to be anxious, because there isn't a routine call. And you should be anxious, and you should be on guard, and you should present your requests to God. Our gospel today is probably one of the most famous that Jesus preached, the Beatitudes, known as the Sermon on the Mount. And I want to just look at a few of those today. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Sounds like someone with a weak disposition, but that's not true. It refers to those who recognize the need for God and for the graces of God given to each one of us. And you do that. Blessed are those who mourn. They're not people crying because they're sad, because of the injustices you see every day. That's what you mourn on. Blessed are the meek. Sounds like people who are weak, but it refers to the inner strength that God has given to all of you as first responders. That inner strength to restrain your anger, to overcome discouragement in the midst of adversity. Blessed are those who hunger, refers to those who yearn to live rightly according to the word of God. And blessed are the pure of heart, those who act with integrity, those who serve every day. Blessed are the peacemakers. You are called upon every day to preserve peace, to preserve it with compassion, and to keep those you serve safe. Blessed are those who are persecuted, those who are slandered, those who are abused, those who are even hated. Blessed are those persecuted. The mood in our country over the last couple of years has changed dramatically towards first responders. They think we can get along without you. We can defund the police and use that money for other services. Today, though, we celebrate you and we thank you, and we know we can't get along without you. You have an extremely difficult job, but I'm preaching to the choir. You know that already. You are called upon every day to go out on these streets to protect and to serve. And you may be going out on a day where you've just had an argument with your spouse, or your child has disappointed you, but you still go to work. You may be going out that day when your wife or your husband says to you, "Why are you still doing this? You're not appreciated. What is wrong with you?" And you still go out every day. You continue to live the oath that you took at the academy on the day that you were sworn in as first responders. We know that not every firefighter or police officer or first responder returns home at the end of their shift. On Monday, there were 3 firefighters in the city of Baltimore, Maryland, who lost their lives trying to contain a row house fire, and it collapsed upon them. Last week, 2 officers in New York were ambushed and murdered simply for being police officers. And yesterday, 3 officers in Houston, Texas were shot at, responding to a call. So today we especially remember those men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice. We remember them not how they died, but how they lived. We remember their courage, their commitment, their dedication, and their calling given to them by God Himself. And we also remember the families, the loved ones, their co-workers, their friends and neighbors who have been left behind. We remember them today. We continue to pray for them and continue to support them. So I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for keeping all of us safe. I know your families from time to time ask why. Why do you want to do this? I know why you want to do this. You do this for your love of community and country. You do this for your brothers and sisters. You do this so that we can keep made safe every day. You stand in harm's way in defense of human dignity. You are witnesses to the great hope that there is a better way. That's who you are. You are that defense for each one of us. You are witnesses to hope, to love, and to charity. So today, thank you. I have been privileged and honored to serve first responders for 36 years. I know what you go through. I have seen you on the streets. I have seen you in tears. I've seen you laugh. I've seen you joke. I've seen you be successful. I've seen you hurt. I know the difficulties that you have and that you go through. And I also know the family sacrifices. I know the days, the anniversaries, the Christmases, the Thanksgivings, the Easters, the reunions, and the birthdays that you've had to miss. So you make sure you thank your families for all the sacrifices they make. My prayer today is that God will continue to bless each one of you, that he will continue to return you home safely at the end of your shift, and that you may know his grace and his strength, and never be afraid to request and to pray to him, especially when you are anxious. God bless.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's presentation of Action for Life. You have been here in this beautiful Church of St. Agnes with those people who really are all about action. Action for you and action for me. God bless you all. We would like to thank our generous sponsors for their wonderful support. Thanks for watching. Please join us next time for Action for Life. I'm for action, and I hope you are too. I'm Father Michael Orsi. I am your host for Action for Life Television, that good news program which talks about the gospel of Jesus Christ, the big G, and the little g, all the good things that people are doing to put the gospel of life into action. So please join us for the next episode of Action for Life.